Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, welcome to be my guest. Today we have, all the way from Westboro. If you're not from around this area, it's really not far. Luanne Crosby, musician and songwriter. Welcome, Luanne. Did she bring a gig with her? She has got the greatest setup here of guitars. And is that a git fiddle? The little one?
This is a guitar,
yeah.
And actually I just had this made for me.
Yeah.
It's a parlor guitar, which is slightly smaller scale than a regular one. And then this is a ukulele, and you can see it has 4 strings.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this is that the luthier who made it generally makes guitars, and somebody asked him to make a ukulele, so he decided that he would do the exact scale of a dreadnought guitar. So it is, just really a mini guitar. It doesn't have the lines of a ukulele, but it's a beautiful instrument.
Did you know you were going to do this when you were a kid, Luanne? Did you?
Yes, because I was doing. I didn't go to college for it, but I've been singing. I think I was in my first talent show at 4, and always sang, played guitar. My first instrument was auto harp. Then I took up guitar at about 6, and I wrote my first song at 12, and I've been playing and writing my whole life, really.
So she's a songwriter as well as a musician. Now, I don't know how many times we tried to get you scheduled.
Yes.
It was either on my end or her end. It was like this. And of course, then we had the bad weather.
Yes, exactly.
Forget about it. What a heck of a winter we had. So, at one point, you went to England.
That's right.
What were you doing in England?
I do have a real job, because I actually have to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
So I work for a Swiss company. It's a global biotech company, and I'm the documentation excellence lead for the global error prevention team.
So you're a good techie.
Sort of. This is more. This is almost more. Some of it's technical, but a lot of it is psychology.
Yeah.
What allows people to make mistakes? People don't make mistakes because they're dumb, but they make mistakes sometimes because things are too complicated. The system they're trying to follow, or in my case, I'm the documentation person, so the procedure is too hard to follow, or that kind of thing.
And so you follow all over the world. You go everywhere, right? How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been in, I started in the biotech world just by mistake when my daughter was about 4. That was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I was just doing temp work. I did some music, and I needed to make some extra money when she went back to school.
How old is she now?
28.
Okay, my son just turned 26. When you said early 90s, I'm
that's
like, bing,
right.
bing, bing, bing.
She was born in 89.
89, yeah, 92.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Nice millennial, right?
Yes, that's right.
We were just talking about the music. Oh, boy. Right in this room right now, we have 2 different generations. And then if we brought our kids in, we'd have the third one. But in between us and them is the Gen Xers.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are now like in their 40s, maybe, something like that. Early 40s, late 30s, something like that.
Right, that's true.
So it's they're more like... I have a niece who's a Gen Xer, but she's only 16 years younger than me because her father, my sibling, was a lot older than I am. So it was more like, could be a little sister if you stretched it. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird squashing, but when you get the millennials in with a baby boomer parent, it's like, we thought we rocked the world. They are wild. The guys are losing their pants. They're losing their pants. I don't know. It's like if you try to have a conversation, it's blah, 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 blah. Even in a restaurant, I could see these. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody's talking to each other. I'm like, you guys ever know what's going? In the back seat, she's in the back seat. My son's in the front. To each other.
Yeah.
And then it makes us paranoid. Like, what are you talking about? Now. So you've been doing. When did you get into music? When did you start doing it?
As I said, I started singing about 3 or 4, maybe. I did my first talent show when I was 4.
Did your parents realize this was coming?
I think so. My parents, neither of them were musicians, but they loved music, and I grew up in a house with, records, musical instruments. I have twin sisters who are 4.5 years older than me. So we, when we were growing up, we listened to, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Kingston Trio, and then we would listen to the albums and get the harmonies, the 3-part harmonies off, and then we'd sing together the 3-part harmonies. I started with auto harp, then went to guitar. One of my sisters played banjo, and the other played guitar.
Where did this talent come from? Your grandparents, great-grandparents? What do you think? That's a lot of talent in one family.
I don't know. I think a lot of it is you expose your kids to music and you give them instruments and you let them listen. And
did you major in college in music?
No, I didn't. I'm basically self-taught. Although I've taken lessons off and on. I did some voice lessons off and on when I was younger. I did, and then as I was older, I started worrying about my voice, and I took some lessons. Just sort of for some technique. I did jazz guitar from a really good teacher in Boston, and I applied to Berklee and was accepted, and then decided not to go.
What?
I like to teach myself. I'm a loner.
Entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do things, but I like to do things by myself. I don't do things in groups.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm not
good.
really,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. We are talking with Luanne Crosby, and she is a musician and songwriter from Westboro. Luanne, play us some tunes.
All right, I will.
Here we go.
Let's see where to start. Well, maybe we'll
Pick your poison, what you want to do. There she goes.
Okay, so I'm going to do a fun one,
right.
and I actually wrote this song for someone in the room.
Would that be?
It wasn't you.
No.
And it's not the cameraman. This is called Best for Last, and my partner in crime here, we've been together about 10 years, and I wrote this one morning. I woke up early on a Saturday morning. I went into the kitchen, and the rest is history.
This is it.
Woke up early on a Saturday morning, went to the kitchen, got the coffee pouring. I can hear you snoring as you catch a little more sleep. Feeling pretty good and the world seems alright. Smiled to myself thinking about us last night. We sure have fun running out of secrets to keep. Funny as a girl when I thought about being this age. I thought I'd have one foot in the grave, but here I am living happier than ever before. Like an artisan cheese and the finest wine, I'm finally coming into my time. Things are easier, life is breezier, and hard times are in the past. And I thank my stars for saving me the best for last. I grab my newspaper from the driveway. I'll need my glasses, but in some ways I see clearer than I ever have before. When I was younger, had a hard time knowing what I really felt and where I was going. But now my mind is strong and my heart is sure. Funny as a girl when I thought about being this me. Didn't know a little time would set me free. But here I am living happier than ever before. Like an artisan cheese and the finest wine, I'm finally coming into my time. Things are easier, life is breezier, and hard times are in the past. And I thank my stars for saving me the best for last. I thank my stars for saving me the best for last. I thank my stars for saving me the best for last.
Hey! Do you know something? That is almost like the mantra of our generation. I'm saving me the best for last, because I think a lot of people are beginning to bloom.
Exactly.
After 55, I don't know, because the boomer generation is such a vast, because I don't know about their ages, but it's like I got that late bloomer part.
Yeah, I think what I find is when I play this song to women of a certain age, they're all like, yes. And I feel, everybody says, oh, that is such a great song. Yeah. Everybody should, that could be a hit.
Yeah.
But of course, music has changed. There are no such things as, maybe there's hits, but it's not like, it's not like it was even 40 years ago.
Reminds me of a Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez type of thing. That is so cool. Who were your favorite singers growing up?
Well, as I said, I listened to folk growing up, so, Kingston Trio and that kind of thing. And then I did, Joni Mitchell and Linda Ronstadt and stuff like that. Then, and I, Country Joe and the Fish, Jefferson Airplane, that kind of 60s, 70s rock. I loved Motown.
What about Kiss?
In fact,
did you like Kiss? I didn't think you would. I didn't take on to them till I was a little older. And I love that. In your face.
Well, it's funny because I was always into, I loved folk, jazz, rock, and I loved Motown and I loved blues. So actually the second... No, it's like the third song I wrote when I was 13. In fact, I'll just play you a little of it to get...
Watch it in your chair. Come forward a little bit.
Okay, to get... Is
come
that
forward.
okay?
Yeah, come forward in your chair. Just bring your chair forward. I don't want you and the set going... Bring her forward, girl.
It's
there
not
you
really,
go.
It's not really a perfect...
What is this song now?
A perfect chair for guitar playing. I won't play the whole... I'll just play you a little to give you an idea. So... I wrote this when I was 13. We used to go to Nantucket for the summers, and we were leaving, and I was upset that we were leaving the island.
How'd you like that boat?
So, loved it.
Okay.
But just to give you an idea of how, that I was influenced by a lot of different kinds of music, and blues was one of them. I got the goodbye blues. I got the goodbye blues. Will I go or will I stay? I got to make that choice today. The highway's calling me, babe. My boots are taking me. I might go to the city. I might go to the sea. But all that I can say, babe, I know you'll know it's true. I wish I treated you right because I'm so in love with you. I got the goodbye blues. It goes on like
And you were
that.
13?
I was 13, yeah.
You were 13,
that was my third song, yeah.
I would have thought by then somebody would have picked up on you.
I know, you'd think it, wouldn't you?
So then you graduated high school.
Yes. Well, no, I didn't.
Sure you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't graduate high school. I didn't graduate college. I had an interesting trajectory. When I was 15, my sisters and I, actually, they were at college and they were going for their year abroad or a semester abroad. 15
they were in college?
No, I was 15, so they were 4 years older.
Yeah.
So
you're the baby like I am.
Yes. So I had... Well, I won't go into all the details, but I had met a French guy that I liked, and I said, well, why don't I come with you to Europe, and that'll be fun, and we'll travel around, and then I can come back. But it was just wonderful over there, and my mother had never been there.
You were a true hippie.
So we called her and said, Mom, you've got to come. Anyway, we ended up moving to London.
Yeah.
And my school I was going at that point to Hingham High School. I had been there 1 year. I was a sophomore, and they said that they were going to make me a senior the next year.
How? You mean Hingham, Mass?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
They jumped you ahead?
Yeah. So they were going to skip my junior year and make me a senior, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
But then when we moved to London, they said, what grade are you in or whatever? And I said, well, I was a sophomore, but they were going to make me a senior. And they said, okay. So halfway through the year, the school calls my mother and says, we can't seem to find Luanne's junior records. And, and my mother said, well, she was never a junior. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. And they said, well, she can't do that. She doesn't have enough credits to graduate. So what I did is I applied to Antioch College where my sisters were going. And it was, 1970. And I, sent in, interesting essays and lots of stuff, and the superintendent of Hingham schools wrote a letter of recommendation saying that it would be cruel to keep me in high school, that I should go out into the world, and I was accepted to college, so I went to college without a high school diploma.
Where, in England?
No, Antioch is in Ohio.
Okay.
I was living in England at the time.
Well, you lived all over the lot.
I was living in England at the time, but I was applying to colleges in the States.
So you had to come back to the States. Okay.
So I came back to the States, and I went for about, like 2 semesters. And I said, you know what I really want to do is be a musician anyway. Yeah. And I don't need to be in college, and it's just not my scene.
Yeah.
So I went back to Boston. I started taking jazz theory courses and
Where in Boston?
playing. Let's see.
Where'd you go?
Let's see. Well, I was living at that point. Where did I live? All over. I lived on the South Shore. Some I lived in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So
you got a nice, well background there. That's really
yeah.
good.
So I just played music and picked up jobs here and there, but I mostly did music. And then when my daughter was born, as I said, I have I'm a writer, even though I write songs, I'm a writer, and I'm good with grammar, and I got a job basically doing technical writing as a temp.
Yeah.
Because back then, at least, and it's probably the same now, you can get a temp job,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily want to see they didn't know that I didn't have a high school diploma nor a college diploma. Although when I was accepted at Berkeley, they said, well, we'll take you, but could you just get your GED? And I said, sure. So I went and took the test, got my GED, no big deal.
Yeah.
Then I ended up not going to Berkeley, but I did end up getting my GED. But anyway, so I got into this job in biotech, and they wanted to hire me after a while, and I said, great. And then they said, you should bring your CV in so we can have it on record.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you see it, you might not. They said, no, we want you. So that's how I got into biotech, and no one's ever asked for my resume because I've just gone from company to company without, I don't know, I've just slid through the cracks and no one's known.
I think a lot of us did that. We were kind of, experimenting with different things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I went to college, majored in art. Got tired of it. Went on to do something else. Went to corporate. Went to business school. Even as a nanny.
Yeah, it is.
I was single, so I could do these.
Now.
I could do those things.
Yeah.
And then broadcasting, because in college I'd done the broadcasting. Now we are talking with Luanne Crosby, and she's a musician and songwriter from Westboro. How would people reach you, Luanne?
The best thing is luannecrosby.com, and my email is luanne@luannecrosby.com.
If they want to, let's say if they wanted to hire you for a gig,
just email me or go to my website, and there's a contact link there.
Is there any limit to how far you'll go? Travel?
Well, okay, so I'll tell you, well, I did actually. So when I I have to tell you a little bit about how I got the job in that I have now as the global, error prevention documentation person. I basically got myself invited to a workshop in the company I work in now. They had a place right up the road in Hopkinton. They had a site, and they were closing that site. And the closest is in Portsmouth, their closest site. And they said, well, they could give me a job in Portsmouth, but I didn't want to commute, and I didn't want to. So they said, well, you can support the editing team up there for 6 months while you look. Meanwhile, there was this error prevention initiative that had been rolled out globally, and there was a mandatory training that I was supposed to go to. So I did, and I went up afterwards and I said to the trainer, I loved this training. I feel like I've been trying to do this by myself my whole life. This is just so great. And she said, well, next week there's a global workshop here in Portsmouth with people from all over, all over the world. And sounds like you should go. And I said, well, if I get invited, I'll go. So I did get an invite, and went in the second day. And I had written a song, because that's what I do. I write songs for everything. So, and I write a lot of satirical songs. And one of them, the first one I wrote for the error prevention team, was error prevention reduces mistakes and deviations. Well, tomorrow. So it's the whole thing on anticipation.
Who sang that?
Carly Simon.
So, is she still singing?
Yeah, I think so. So then the next day I went in and I had written another song.
Yeah.
And the third day I went in, and the person who is now my boss said, I want you to go to China next March because we're going to be rolling out the error prevention. I want you to go there for their holiday party and sing these songs. And I said, well, I'd love to if I still work for the company. And he said, what do you mean if you still work for the company? I explained.
And you got hired?
So within 2 weeks, he offered me a job on his team, error prevention. So.
Ooh, were you happy?
Oh, yeah, it was great. Sure.
Play us something else.
All right, let's see. I will play you... okay, I'll play you...
Now, this is another... Well, you write all your songs, right?
I do. I write all my songs, yeah. So this is one I wrote... This is called Safe Harbor. And then I will play one on the uke at one point, but this is better
Okay.
on the guitar. Set sail at sunset, my gear is stored away. It might be crazy, but I'm leaving now. But the stars will steer my course, and I trust the winds of change to lead me safe through any storm. I'm sorry I can't take you. It's not that I don't love you. A part of me could die here in your arms. Safe harbor, please. Say you'll be here for me, and I promise you I'll be coming home. Solo round the world, I am not afraid. These ancient maps have shown the way before. But I've studied tides and read the monographs. This compass heart will see me safe to shore. I'm sorry I can't take you. It's not that I don't love you. God knows how much I need your loving arms. Safe harbor, please. Say you'll be here for me, and I promise you I'll be coming home. This journey could change me in ways unforeseen. Will I be someone that you'll recognize? If you have any doubts, I'll sing to you my song. All you gotta do is close your eyes. Set sail at sunset, my gear is stored away. Friends say it's crazy living now, but the stars will steer my course, and I trust the winds of change to lead me safe through any storm. Safe harbor, please. Say you'll be here for me. I'll be home.
Oh, very good. How long does it take you to write a song? Is that too hard to answer?
Well, what happens usually is that I write them pretty quickly. For example, the one I did, woke up early on a Saturday morning, went into the kitchen,
was the
got the
name of
coffee
that one?
poured.
Just- you just-
Safe Harbor.
Okay.
Safe Harbor. So what I usually do is I get inspired, I sit down and I flesh it out and I write it fairly quickly, within a couple of hours probably. But then I edit, like any good writer,
Sure.
and I tweak and I maybe change some chords or change some lyrics or just, I just tweak and edit and
Sure.
refine and polish. And so it
Right.
takes, and then I have to play it I play it in that process. I'll play it 50 times, and by then it sort of becomes, second nature.
We're talking with Luanne Crosby, and she is obviously a songwriter, a musician. How again can they reach you?
LuanneCrosby.com, and that's LuAnne. Luanne Crosby, Crosby.
What events do you have coming up?
Well, I had, and I'll tell you a little about that. Well, first, I had the spring festival in Westboro that they have every spring, and I play at it, but Sunday it's supposed to be thunderstorms.
Yeah, they have that right in that common near where.
Yes, at Bay State Common.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a little bit. So I always played. My first real paying gig was when I was about 18. I used to do every Monday at the Ground Round in Norwell. That was sort of my first real gig.
Didn't they close those down?
Then, some of them. There are a few open. And then I have. Then I had a band for 30 years, lived in Germany for 4 years, was pretty big on the circuit there. And then actually it changed about 10 years ago when I met my now husband. Yeah. And at that point I still had the band, and we rehearsed on Tuesday nights and played every place from the Chicken Bone to in Worcester, everywhere. And one time Chris said to me, you have this sort of demanding job. Yeah. My daughter was still living at home then. Yeah. And you have a limited amount of time to do music. Is this really what you want to do with your time? Yeah. And I went, that is such a great question, and one I should have asked myself a long time ago. And the answer was no, because what I really, I'm a songwriter, so I need time to write. Sure. I don't know, it just seemed like I also have written over 300 songs, and I have them since I was, I have them on every kind of technology. I have it on cassette tape, I have it on DAT tape, I have it on this, I have it on that, and I want to have a digital recording of everything, and a chord chart and a lyric sheet for everything. I basically want to get my library together of my original music, and that takes time. So
I want to know if she's going to, we got about 4 minutes left. So are you going to be out locally, that people can look forward to this?
Let's see. Am I? So the ending to this long story is that I now do mostly community events. Yeah. I don't do very many gigs. I do some occasionally. Chris and I do a series in Westboro of architectural walking tours. His background is historic preservation, real estate type stuff, and I bring my ukulele and I play music that goes along with while we walk, while he'll talk about a particular house, what's going on, this is a boot shop, and I'll do something like these boots are made for walking, that kind of stuff. So we do that. I play every Sunday up at the nursing home from 1 to 2.
Now, which nursing home is it?
It's Beaumont in Northborough. It's and
what time are you there?
I'm there 1 to 2, but I'm just sitting in the hallway with a bunch of people in wheelchairs, and I bring my ukulele and I play every song they know, because
I know that UMass Medical has had. Boy, once in a blue moon, I'll walk into the main lobby and they'll have a little band. Have you ever thought of approaching them about this?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think I will do more of this when I retire. The thing is that I work full time now, and so yes, there's a load, like the thing, like the Memory Cafe I told you about that I play about.
Retire.
There's yes. So, but the thing is that to come out in it works in some ways well, because I work with a lot of people in Europe. Yeah. So I start working at 6 and I work 4 or 5 hours. I took the afternoon off to come and visit you today.
So you can call your own hours, basically.
But exactly.
That's good.
But yes, it's not that there aren't opportunities to play. I could be, I just want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And when I'm retired, there might be more stuff I'll do.
So
like
people
that.
can, if you're interested, you don't be afraid to connect with her.
Yeah, and I have 3 CDs. You can also get my music on iTunes, Amazon. Things like that. And one of the things that I do, and you can see it on my website, has a lot of the music I've written. One tab is called Playing at Work. It's all the songs I've written for work. There's lots of stuff there. And something called Personal Performances. And that's where I'll come to your house to a cocktail party, a book group,
Yeah.
you know, a woman's get together.
How about a family reunion?
Or a family reunion, or
Yeah.
going to visit your, you know, elderly mom at the
Sure.
nursing home.
Yeah.
I'll bring my ukulele. I'll just go. I know songs from the turn of the century all the way up to present day, because there is a lot of fantastic new material from really excellent songwriters, and I do that too.
She's
so.
our modern day Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez, everybody all combined with was it not Airplane? What was Jefferson Airplane?
Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, you're like
Gracie Slick, right?
Gracie Slick, yeah, and then
and
everybody
actually,
together. You got
Joplin. I do.
Joplin was not a favorite of mine.
Well, we don't have time, but you
No.
didn't hear me play Bobby McGee. That's sort of one of
Maybe
my
that would be
signature
okay.
songs. So
Thank you so much, Luanne.
You're welcome. It was
we
very
should
nice
have you
being
back
here.
again. I'm glad we finally got you
Yeah,
on
me
with all
too.
the weather and all the cancellations.
Me too. It was fun.
We'll see you next time. I'll be my guest.